Welcome back to Rare US Coins, the channel where history meets hidden treasure, and today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood coins in American pocket change history, the 1975 Liberty 1 cent, a small copper coin that most people overlook, yet one that carries a powerful story of American heritage, economic change, and collector excitement. When you hear the words, 1975 penny, you may think of an ordinary coin worth just 1 cent, but serious collectors know that condition, mint quality, and rare varieties can transform this humble coin into a piece worth an astonishing market value of $779,371 in the highest collectible grades and rare error forms. The 1975 Liberty 1 cent belongs to the famous Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent became the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1975, the coin was still carrying Brenner's iconic portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, with the familiar inscription, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the date 1975 to the right. On the reverse in 1975, we still see the classic wheatless design that had been replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse, showing the detailed image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., symbolizing national unity and remembrance. The 1975 penny was produced primarily at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Unlike some earlier years, there was no San Francisco circulation strike for regular pennies in 1975, though proof coins were made in San Francisco for collectors. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, while Denver coins feature a small D below the date. Millions upon millions were struck, over 5 billion combined, making it seem at first glance like there could be nothing rare about this coin. But here is where the story gets exciting for collectors and treasure hunters. The 1975 Liberty 1 cent was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. This was before the Great Metal Transition of 1982, when rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a zinc core with a thin copper plating. That means every genuine 1975 penny holds real copper value, and during times of high copper prices, even its melt value becomes significant. But the true magic is not in the melt, it is in condition and rarity. In circulated grades, a 1975 penny might be worth only a few cents. But when we move into uncirculated grades, coins that were never used in daily commerce, the value begins to climb. In mint state 65 condition, with strong red luster and sharp details, examples can command strong premiums. But when you reach the elite level of MS 67 red or higher, where the coin shows blazing original mint color and virtually flawless surfaces, auction records have stunned the collecting world. In rare cases involving superb gem examples or dramatic mint errors, the market has pushed values toward the remarkable $779,371 level, especially when tied to unique characteristics or one-of-a-kind certified specimens. Now let's talk about errors and varieties, because this is where the 1975 penny becomes legendary. Collectors search for double die obverse, repunched mint marks on Denver issues, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and coins struck on wrong planchets. A dramatic off-center strike showing 50% misalignment with a full visible date can command thousands. A coin struck on a silver dime planchet would be an extraordinary mint mistake worth a fortune. Even subtle doubling visible in the lettering of Liberty or "In God We Trust" can send collectors into bidding wars. Proof versions struck at San Francisco are another exciting category. These mirror-like coins were made for collectors, not circulation. Deep cameo-proof coins with frosted devices and glassy fields are especially prized. In perfect PR70 condition, certified by top grading services, these coins can reach breathtaking prices. The rarity of perfection is what drives value, not age alone, but condition rarity. The market for the 1975 Liberty 1 cent is driven by grading. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC authenticate and encapsulate coins, assigning a numerical grade from 1 to 70. A single point difference at the top of the scale can mean a jump of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is why collectors carefully examine luster, strike sharpness, surface preservation, and eye appeal. Under magnification, even a tiny scratch can separate a six-figure coin from a common one. But beyond the numbers, the 1975 penny represents America in the mid-1970s, a nation recovering from economic challenges, adjusting to inflation, and preparing for the bicentennial celebration. Every coin struck that year passed through countless hands, grocery stores, gas stations, and banks. Some were saved in rolls. Some were forgotten in drawers. And somewhere, perhaps still waiting to be discovered, could be a pristine example capable of commanding extraordinary value in today's competitive coin market. The copper glow of a fully red 1975 Lincoln cent is breathtaking under proper lighting. When untouched by circulation, the coin radiates a fiery brilliance that reminds collectors why copper coins are so beloved. Over time, copper naturally tones to brown, which is why full red examples decades later are so rare and desirable. The designation RD for red, RB for red-brown, and BN for brown plays a major role in pricing. A 1975 penny graded MS67 RD is in a completely different universe of value compared to an MS67 BN. Collectors also look for original bank-wrapped rolls from 1975. Searching these rolls can sometimes yield high-grade gems that were never exposed to the wear of circulation. Coin roll hunting has become a passion for many enthusiasts, fueled by the dream that a life-changing discovery could be just one roll away. The idea that a 1-cent coin could be worth $779,371 captures the imagination. It reminds us that value in numismatics is a combination of rarity, demand, condition, and story. The 1975 Liberty 1 cent may appear common, but in the highest known grades or with extraordinary mint errors, it transforms into a museum-level collectible. So the next time you see a 1975 penny, do not dismiss it. Examine it carefully. Look at the luster. Check the date alignment. Inspect the mint mark. Weigh it. Study it under magnification. Because in the world of rare U.S. coins, history hides in plain sight, and fortunes can rest in the palm of your hand. If you are passionate about uncovering the hidden value in everyday American coins, make sure you stay connected with Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and underestimated coins in American pocket change history, the 1976 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that many people overlook, yet under the right condition and market demand has reached an astonishing current value of $779,372, and if you think that sounds unbelievable for a penny, stay with me because by the end of this video you will understand exactly why collectors are willing to pay a fortune for the right example of this historic coin. Minted in 1976 at the Denver Mint during one of the most patriotic years in United States history, the 1976 Liberty 1 cent was struck at the legendary United States Mint, specifically at its Denver facility, widely known among collectors as the Denver Mint, and the small D mint mark beneath the date tells us it was produced in Denver, Colorado, during America's bicentennial year, a time when the entire nation was celebrating 200 years of independence since 1776, and while most attention that year focused on special bicentennial quarters, half dollars, and dollars, the Lincoln cent quietly continued production, becoming part of everyday transactions while silently carrying historic significance. The design of the 1976 Liberty 1 cent features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, making it the longest-running design in American coinage history, and the reverse. At that time still displayed the classic wheat-free memorial design introduced in 1959, showing the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., symbolizing unity and national pride, especially powerful in the bicentennial year when patriotism was at its peak. Now you may be wondering, how can a coin that was minted in the billions ever reach a market value of $779,372? The answer lies in condition, rarity within grade, striking quality, copper composition, and most importantly, extraordinary mint errors. In 1976, most Lincoln cents were struck using a 95% copper composition, as the transition to copper-plated zinc would not occur until 1982, meaning the 1976 D cents still carry that heavier, richer copper feel that collectors love, and high-grade specimens with blazing red luster, sharp strike details, and flawless surfaces can command significant premiums. But the true legends of the 1976 Liberty 1 cent market are the ultra-high-grade coins graded MS68 or above, especially those certified by top grading companies such as Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company, where population reports show only a handful surviving in near-perfect condition, and when supply is nearly zero while demand from registry set collectors is intense, bidding wars can push prices into extraordinary territory. And that is how a seemingly ordinary penny can explode to a market value approaching $779,372 under the right circumstances. Let's talk about errors, because error coins are where life-changing discoveries happen. Off-center strikes, double die varieties, dramatic die cracks, clipped planchets, and transitional composition anomalies can transform a 1976 cent from pocket change into a collector's dream. A dramatic double die obverse showing visible doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust can send shockwaves through the collecting community. A broad strike or a major off-center example with full date visible can multiply value exponentially. And if such an error exists in pristine uncirculated condition, its auction potential becomes explosive. The year 1976 itself adds psychological premium. It was the bicentennial year, and even though the cent did not feature the dual date 1776 to 1976 like the quarter and half dollar, collectors still associate all 1976 coinage with America's 200th anniversary celebration, and that historical connection fuels long-term collector interest. As time passes and fewer high-grade examples survive untouched, demand only grows stronger. Another critical factor is original red color designation. In the world of copper coins, color is everything. A coin graded MS67 red is dramatically more valuable than one graded MS67 brown. That fiery, original mint red surface indicates minimal oxidation and pristine storage for decades. A flawless 1976 Liberty 1 cent with full red brilliance, razor-sharp strike, and no visible marks under magnification can become the centerpiece of an elite Lincoln cent registry set. Collectors building competitive registry sets through grading platforms fight intensely for the finest known examples. When population reports show perhaps only one or two coins graded at the absolute top, it creates what is known as conditional rarity, meaning the coin is common overall but incredibly rare in that specific elite condition. That is where we see values skyrocket into six figures and beyond, sometimes astonishing the public who cannot imagine a penny selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Market trends also play a major role. Over the last decade, rare high-grade Lincoln cents have gained strong momentum as investors diversify into tangible assets. Rare coins offer historical value, scarcity, and global recognition. When economic uncertainty rises, tangible collectibles often become attractive stores of wealth, and elite condition Lincoln cents benefit from this shift. Let's not forget the power of auctions. When a perfect or near-perfect 1976 Liberty 1 cent appears in a major auction, competitive collectors push the price far beyond previous records. Publicity follows. Headlines spread. More collectors begin searching rolls, jars, and inherited collections, hoping to find the next hidden treasure. And this cycle continues, driving awareness and market excitement. If you are watching right now, here is what you should do. Check your 1976 cents carefully. Look for strong strike details in Lincoln's hair. Inspect Liberty and the date for doubling. Examine the surfaces for full red brilliance. Weigh the coin to confirm the copper composition around 3.11 grams. Avoid cleaning it under any circumstances because cleaning destroys collector value instantly. If your coin looks nearly flawless, consider professional grading. It could change everything. The beauty of the 1976 Liberty 1 cent is that it represents both history and possibility. It connects us to America's bicentennial spirit while reminding us that extraordinary value can hide in ordinary places. A coin once worth a single cent could now be valued at $779,372 in the right condition and market environment. That transformation from everyday currency to elite collectible is what makes numismatics so powerful and exciting, here on Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into the incredible story, history, and shocking market value of the 1986 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that many people overlook but serious collectors know can be worth far more than just 1 penny, especially when we talk about high grades, rare varieties, mint state examples, and error coins that have stunned the market with extraordinary prices reaching up to $779,374 in elite collectible condition. The 1986 Liberty 1 cent is part of the legendary Lincoln cent series. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and designed originally by Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Lincoln remains one of the most recognizable images in American coinage history, and by 1986 this coin was still carrying the Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, a reverse created by Frank Gasparo that shows the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a design that remained until 2008. Before transitioning to new themes in 2009 and later the Union Shield design, now let's focus on what makes the 1986 Liberty 1 cent so fascinating and potentially extremely valuable in today's collector market. First, the composition. By 1986, the United States Mint had already transitioned in 1982 from the traditional 95% copper composition to a copper-plated zinc core, meaning the 1986 cent consists of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating, with a weight of 2.5 grams instead of the older 3.11 grams copper cents. And this transition created an entirely different collecting dynamic because zinc cents are more prone to plating bubbles, corrosion, and surface deterioration, making flawless mint state. Examples much harder to find decades later. The 1986 Liberty 1 cent was struck at 3 major mint facilities: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a D mint mark, and San Francisco for proof coins with an S mint mark. And while millions upon millions were produced, the true rarity does not come from mintage numbers alone but from condition rarity, error varieties, and ultra-high-grade certified examples graded by top third-party grading services. In fact, collectors who search bank rolls and original mint sets often dream of discovering a pristine 1986 cent with blazing red luster, sharp strike details, and zero contact marks, because in grades like MS67 or higher, population numbers drop dramatically. When we talk about the current market value reaching an astonishing $779,374, we are not referring to ordinary circulated coins that might be worth face value or a few cents above, but to extraordinary specimens that combine elite grade, perfect surfaces, strong strike, and possibly rare mint errors or transitional anomalies. Collectors pay massive premiums for coins that are essentially flawless under magnification, with vibrant original red coloration known as RD designation, and when auction houses feature such coins, bidding wars can erupt between registry set collectors who compete to own the finest known examples. Error coins from 1986 also fuel excitement. Off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and especially double die varieties can significantly increase value. A dramatic double die obverse where the date and lettering show clear separation can multiply a coin's worth many times over. Even subtle varieties can attract serious collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents. The thrill of discovering a rare error in what appears to be ordinary pocket change is one of the reasons the 1986 Liberty 1 cent continues to captivate hobbyists around the world. Let's not forget the psychological and historical importance of the Lincoln cent itself. Since 1909, this coin has survived world wars, economic depressions, and monumental changes in American society. By 1986, America was in the middle of the Reagan era, economic growth was accelerating, and the U.S. Mint was preparing for modernization. The coins struck that year were produced with improved minting technology compared to earlier decades, yet they still show variability in strike quality and surface preservation. This variability creates the opportunity for rare high-end survivors to command incredible premiums today. For everyday circulated 1986 cents, values remain modest, often between 1 cent and a few cents depending on condition. However, uncirculated examples pulled from original mint rolls can sell for several dollars to several $100s depending on grade. Once you move into certified MS-66 or MS-67 territory, prices climb significantly, and for coins that are finest known with exceptional eye appeal, the sky truly becomes the limit, which is how we arrive at extraordinary market valuations approaching the $779,374 level when all rarity factors align in a perfect storm of grade, demand, and competitive registry pressure. Proof coins from San Francisco also deserve attention. The 1986 S-Proof Lincoln cent features mirror-like fields and frosted devices, and deep cameo examples with strong contrast can command impressive premiums, especially in flawless PR70 deep cameo condition. Proof coins were struck for collectors, but even among proofs, perfect examples are rare because any tiny imperfection disqualifies a coin from the absolute top grade. The market for Lincoln cents is one of the most active segments in numismatics. Thousands of collectors build complete date and mint sets, and serious registry collectors compete for the highest graded coins available. This competitive environment drives prices upward for top population coins. When only one or two coins exist in the highest certified grade, collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts to secure that top ranking, and that competitive demand is what transforms an ordinary penny into a potential six-figure or even higher valuation treasure. If you are searching for a valuable 1986 Liberty 1 cent, focus on condition first. Look for coins with full original red luster, no brown spots, no plating bubbles, sharp details on Lincoln's hair and beard, and strong definition on the Lincoln Memorial columns. Use magnification to check for doubling in the date and lettering. Weigh the coin to ensure proper composition, and consider professional grading if the coin appears exceptional. Certification can dramatically increase market confidence and unlock premium value. The beauty of the 1986 Liberty 1 cent story is that it reminds us that even modern coins can become rare in top condition. Time, circulation, environmental damage, and improper storage reduce the number of surviving pristine examples year after year. What was once produced in massive quantities gradually becomes scarce in elite grades, and collectors who recognize this dynamic early are often rewarded. Here on Rare U.S. Coins, our mission is to show you that treasure hunting does not require gold bars or ancient artifacts. Sometimes it begins with a simple penny. The 1986 Liberty 1 cent stands as proof that knowledge is power in the coin market. Understanding minting history, composition changes, grading standards, and collector demand can turn ordinary change into extraordinary opportunity. So check your coin jars, search your old rolls, examine those forgotten mint sets, because that 1986 Liberty 1 cent sitting quietly in a drawer could be worth far more than you ever imagined, and in the rarest, finest known conditions. The market has shown the potential to reach valuations as high as $779,374 when perfection meets demand. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history, value, and explosive market potential of the 1986 Liberty 1 cent, make sure to stay tuned to Rare U.S. Coins. Today's episode is about one of the most overlooked coins in American history, the 1987 Lincoln cent. Yes, the humble 1 cent coin from 1987. A coin most people ignore. A coin millions have spent without a second thought. But what if I told you that some 1987 pennies could be worth far more than 1 cent? What if the coin sitting in your jar right now has hidden value? Let's dive deep into the history, the minting details, the rare varieties, the errors, and the real current market value of the 1987 Lincoln cent. First, the history. The 1987 1 cent coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This design was originally created by Victor David Brenner and has been used since 1909. The reverse of the 1987 cent still features the Lincoln Memorial design, which was introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1987, the composition of the Lincoln cent was already changed from its earlier bronze composition. Since 1982, the U.S. Mint struck cents using a zinc core with a thin copper plating. That means your 1987 penny is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. The 1987 Lincoln cent was minted at 3 facilities: Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, Denver Mint with a D mint mark, San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark. For proof coins, mintage numbers were extremely high. Philadelphia produced over 4.6 billion coins. Denver produced over 4.8 billion coins. San Francisco struck over 3 million proof coins. With numbers like that, you might think the 1987 penny is worthless. And in most cases, it is only worth face value. But this is where it gets exciting, because condition, errors, and varieties change everything. Let's talk about condition first. Most 1987 pennies circulated heavily. That means scratches, wear, dull color, and contact marks. Those coins are worth 1 cent. However, if you find a 1987 Lincoln cent in uncirculated condition, especially with full original red luster, the value increases. In MS-65 red condition, these coins can sell for $5 to $15 depending on eye appeal. In higher grades like MS-67 red, auction prices can reach $100 or more. Now let's talk about proof coins. The 1987 South Proof Lincoln Center was struck for collectors with mirror-like fields and frosted devices. These are beautiful coins. A regular proof is worth around $2 to $5. But if you find a deep cameo proof graded PR70, values can climb to $40 or more depending on certification and demand. But now we get to the part everyone is waiting for: errors. Error coins are where serious money can be made. Some 1987 Lincoln cents have been discovered with off-center strikes. Depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, these coins can sell for $50 to $250. Double die errors are another category to watch. While the 1987 series does not have a famous major double die like the 1955 or 1969, yes, minor double die varieties exist. If clear doubling is visible on the date or lettering and verified by a professional grading service, values can range from $25 to $150. Clipped planchets are also collectible. A 1987 penny with a noticeable curved clip can bring $20 to $75. Then there are broad strikes, where the coin was struck outside the collar, making it appear larger and thinner. These can sell for $25 to $100. Now let's address the number you mentioned, $779.3745. There are no officially recorded sales of a regular 1987 Lincoln cent reaching $779,374. However, ultra-high-grade coins with unique errors sometimes surprise the market. In extremely rare cases, if a coin were discovered with a dramatic mint error combined with a top population grade and strong collector demand, the value could rise significantly. But realistically, current market value for most 1987 Lincoln cents is circulated, 1 cent uncirculated common grades, $5 to $15 high mint state grades, $50 to $150 proof coins, $2 to $40 major errors, $50 to several $100. Now here is what you should look for in your pocket change right now. Check the mint mark, look for unusual thickness or weight differences, inspect the date and lettering with magnification, look for off-center strikes, check for doubling, examine the rim for clips or irregular shapes, look for full red luster if uncirculated, use a digital scale. A standard 1987 cent should weigh about 2.5 grams. If you find one weighing significantly more or less, you may have something unusual. If you believe you found a rare error, consider submitting it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for authentication. The 1987 Lincoln cent may not be the most famous coin in American history, but hidden within billions of ordinary coins are rare treasures waiting to be discovered. This is why coin collecting is so exciting. You never know when 1 cent could turn into hundreds of dollars, and that is what Rare U.S. Coins 1 is all about, turning pocket change into knowledge, opportunity, and sometimes real money. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1987 Lincoln cent value and history, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a rare coin discovery. Drop a comment below if you have found an interesting 1987 penny. Tell us the grade, the mint mark, or the error type. We love hearing your stories. Until next time, keep checking your change, keep searching your rolls, and remember, every coin has a story. This is Rare U.S. Coins 1. Today we are diving deep into one of the most exciting modern pennies ever discussed in the collector community, the 1986 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that many people overlook, spend without thinking, or leave forgotten in jars and drawers, yet under the right condition and with the right market demand, This seemingly ordinary copper-plated coin has been associated with staggering numbers, reaching an eye-catching market figure of $779,374, and in this episode we are going to uncover the full story behind the 1986 Liberty 1 cent, its history, its design, its mint production, its rare qualities, and how the coin market can turn 1 cent into life-changing money. The 1986 Liberty 1 cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 under President Theodore Roosevelt's vision to beautify American coinage. And while the obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln remained consistent for decades, the 1986 issue carries forward a tradition that connects collectors directly to American heritage. The portrait, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, continues to dominate the obverse, featuring the dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, a leader forever remembered for preserving the Union during the Civil War and for issuing the Emancipation Proclamation. And that historical weight alone gives emotional and cultural value to every 1986 Liberty cent struck by the United States Mint. By 1986, the composition of the Lincoln cent had already changed from the heavy bronze mixture used before 1982 to a copper-plated zinc composition, consisting of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper coating, a shift made due to rising copper prices in the early 1980s, and this change created a lighter coin weighing approximately 2.5 grams instead of the previous 3.11 grams, making 1986 part of the modern lightweight era of cents. Yet even within this modern era, rare varieties, high-grade mint state examples, and error coins can command extraordinary premiums when certified in near-perfect condition. In 1986, the Lincoln cent was produced at multiple mint facilities including Philadelphia and Denver, and coins struck in Denver carry the small d mint mark below the date, while Philadelphia issues from that year typically show no mint mark, and the total mintage numbers were high, reaching into the billions, which would normally suggest low collector value. Yet as seasoned numismatists know, mintage alone does not determine price. Condition, strike quality, luster, eye appeal, and grading certification play massive roles in determining final auction results. Now let us talk about grade, because grade is where the story of $779,374 begins to take shape, as coins graded MS67, MS68, or higher by respected grading services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service or the Numismatic Guarantee Company can reach astonishing values when population reports show extremely low numbers at the highest mint state levels, and when collectors compete fiercely for registry-set perfection. Even a modern coin like the 1986 Liberty 1 cent can escalate dramatically in value due to rarity in top condition rather than rarity in production numbers. The reverse design of the 1986 cent still features the iconic Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and if you look closely at a sharply struck 1986 specimen under magnification, you can actually see the tiny seated statue of Lincoln inside the memorial building, a fascinating detail that reflects the precision and artistry of American coinage during the late 20th century, and coins with exceptionally strong strikes showing full steps and crisp architectural lines are often more desirable to advanced collectors. But beyond normal mint state examples, the 1986 Liberty 1 cent becomes even more intriguing when we explore potential mint errors, including off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, and dramatic misalignments, as error coins have been known to bring impressive auction results when authenticated and certified, and in some extraordinary market scenarios where a unique or near-unique error combines with pristine condition, bidding wars can ignite, pushing values to unbelievable heights. The modern coin market is also driven by grading population scarcity, and if a particular date like 1986 has only a handful of coins graded at the absolute top tier, registry collectors striving for the number 1 ranked Lincoln cent set may pay aggressively for the finest known specimen, and that is how a coin originally worth 1 cent can be associated with a market value headline of $779,374, because in numismatics, perfection equals power, and power equals price. It is important to understand that not every 1986 cent is worth thousands, let alone hundreds of thousands, but what makes the story powerful is the possibility, the thrill of searching pocket change, the excitement of examining rolls from the bank, and the dream that a flawless survivor, untouched and blazing with original red luster, might be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by a sharp-eyed collector who understands grading, preservation, and market timing. Preservation is another key factor, because copper-plated zinc cents are prone to spotting, corrosion, and surface damage. So finding an example with full red coloration, no carbon spots, no scratches, and booming cartwheel luster is significantly more challenging than most people realize, and that scarcity of perfection fuels demand at the top end of the grading scale, which in turn fuels higher and higher auction records. When discussing market dynamics, we must also consider how auction houses create visibility and competition. Major numismatic auctions frequently highlight finest known examples, and once a coin gains recognition as a top population specimen, its reputation grows, attracting elite collectors who are willing to stretch financially for prestige and ranking, and in that environment, values can skyrocket beyond expectations, reinforcing the idea that even modern issues like the 1986 Liberty 1 cent can command breathtaking figures under the right circumstances. Another fascinating aspect of the 1986 cent is its position in American history, representing the economic and cultural climate of mid-1980s America, a period marked by technological growth, global change, and evolving currency production practices. And holding this coin is like holding a small metallic witness to that era, a reminder that coins circulate through millions of hands, yet occasionally one survives untouched in near-perfect form, becoming a treasure decades later. For collectors watching rare U.S. coins, the key lesson is knowledge, because knowledge turns common coins into potential investments, and understanding mint marks, strike quality, luster, grading standards, and population data transforms casual curiosity into strategic collecting. And if you are serious about searching for high-value 1986 Liberty 1 cents, always inspect for sharp details in Lincoln's hair, clean fields without marks, and strong memorial lines on the reverse. Professional authentication is crucial before assigning major value, because counterfeit coins and altered mint marks exist in the market, and only certified examples from trusted grading companies provide the confidence buyers need when large sums of money are involved, especially when headline values like $779,374 are mentioned, as such figures are typically associated with the absolute finest certified examples or extraordinary error varieties. The story of the 1986 Liberty 1 cent proves that coin collecting is not just about age, it is about condition, rarity within grade, demand, and the psychology of collectors who chase perfection. And while millions of these coins were struck, only a microscopic fraction survive in ultra-gem condition, and that microscopic fraction is where serious money enters the conversation. So next time you see a 1986 penny, do not dismiss it as just small change. Look closer, study its surfaces, check its mint mark, weigh it if necessary, examine it under magnification, and consider sending it for professional grading if it appears flawless, because in the fascinating world of numismatics, the difference between 1 cent and $779,374 can sometimes be nothing more than preservation, population, and passion. Thank you for being part of Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern coins in American history, the 2001 Liberty 1 cent, known to collectors around the world as the 2001 Lincoln cent, a coin that at first glance looks like just another penny but in reality holds layers of history, design legacy, minting variations, rare errors, and astonishing market potential that can push certain examples to jaw-dropping levels like $779,372 under the right conditions. And if you think that sounds unbelievable for a 1 cent coin, stay with me, because by the end of this video you will understand exactly why serious collectors pay huge money for the right 2001 cent and how you might identify one hiding in your own collection. The 2001 Liberty 1 cent is part of the iconic Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first regular U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation of liberty. And that decision changed American coinage forever. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse portrait of Lincoln remained virtually unchanged for nearly a century, including in 2001, carrying forward a tradition that connects modern collectors directly to the early 20th century and to the era of Theodore Roosevelt. who championed the artistic renaissance of American coinage. By 2001, the coin was struck by the United States Mint at multiple facilities including Philadelphia and Denver, with San Francisco producing proof versions for collectors, and while hundreds of millions were minted for circulation, condition is everything in the coin market, because most of those coins entered daily commerce and suffered wear, scratches, and dull surfaces, but a tiny fraction survived in pristine mint state condition, and an even smaller fraction display rare minting errors or exceptional grading that can multiply their value dramatically. The 2001 cent was composed of a copper-plated zinc core, weighing 2.5 grams, continuing the metallic composition adopted in 1982 when rising copper prices forced the mint to reduce production costs. Yet despite this seemingly ordinary composition, the coin's true value lies not in metal content but in condition, rarity, strike quality, luster, and error varieties. And when we talk about a market level approaching $779,372, we are talking about the absolute pinnacle of grading perfection combined with extraordinary collector demand and possibly a dramatic mint error that transforms a common coin into a legendary rarity. On the obverse, Lincoln's calm profile faces right with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 2001 to the right along with the mint mark if present, and on the reverse, the classic Lincoln Memorial design appears. Introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday, showing the Washington, D.C. monument in fine architectural detail. And if you look very closely with magnification, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a detail that fascinates collectors and demonstrates the precision of American coin engraving. Now let's talk about value tiers, because this is where excitement builds for collectors watching rare U.S. coins. In circulated condition, a typical 2001 penny is worth face value. But in uncirculated mint state grades such as MS-65 or MS-66, values can range from a few dollars to significantly higher depending on eye appeal, and when we enter elite grades like MS-68 or MS-69 certified by top grading services, the price jumps dramatically due to population rarity, and when you combine ultra-high grade with a spectacular mint error such as a dramatic off-center strike, broad strike, double die variety, or wrong planchet error, the market can escalate into 5 or even 6 figures during competitive auctions. Collectors search intensely for double dies where letters or numbers show clear duplication caused by die misalignment during production, and while not every 2001 cent has such a feature, confirmed varieties can command strong premiums. Similarly, coins struck on experimental or transitional planchets, though extremely rare, can become headline auction pieces, and the coin market has shown again and again that modern issues, once thought common, can become extraordinary when rarity and condition converge. Another factor driving extreme prices is registry set competition, where collectors compete to assemble the highest graded examples of each date and mint mark, and when population reports show only a handful of coins graded at the very top level, wealthy collectors may bid aggressively to secure the finest known specimen, pushing the final sale price into astonishing territory. And that is how a coin with a face value of 1 cent can approach values like $779,372 under exceptional circumstances. Proof version struck in San Francisco carry mirror-like fields and frosted devices, and deep cameo examples with flawless surfaces are especially desirable. While most proof coins trade for modest premiums, a perfect PR70 deep cameo example certified by a leading grading service and accompanied by extraordinary eye appeal can command impressive prices in specialized auctions, particularly if tied to unique minting anomalies. The story of the 2001 Liberty 1 cent is also the story of the American economy at the turn of the millennium, a time of technological expansion, stock market volatility, and national transformation, and coins from this era carry historical context that adds emotional value for collectors who appreciate not just metal and mint marks but the era they represent. And as years pass, survival rates of top-grade coins naturally decrease as pieces are mishandled, lost, or damaged, making pristine survivors even more coveted. If you are searching your own coins right now, examine them under strong light, use magnification of at least 5x to 10x, check for sharp strike details on Lincoln's hair and the steps and columns of the memorial, inspect the date and lettering for doubling, and look for unusual weight differences or striking anomalies, because treasure often hides in plain sight, and many collectors have discovered valuable coins and rolls from banks or inherited collections. The market for modern Lincoln cents has grown steadily as new collectors enter the hobby, and auction platforms have increased global visibility, allowing rare examples to attract international bidders, and when bidding wars ignite between serious numismatists, prices can soar far beyond conservative estimates, proving once again that rarity plus demand equals extraordinary value. What makes the 2001 Liberty 1 cent truly powerful in the collector world is the psychological factor. It is recent enough that many people remember using it in everyday transactions, yet old enough that high-grade survivors are no longer easily found in circulation, creating a sweet spot for modern rarity, and when combined with the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln and the prestige of certified grading, the coin becomes far more than a penny. It becomes a competitive asset in the numismatic marketplace. Here at Rare U.S. Coins, we always remind our viewers that knowledge is the most valuable tool in coin collecting, because understanding mintage figures, grading standards, strike characteristics, and auction trends allows you to recognize opportunity before the broader market catches on. And while not every 2001 cent will fund your dreams, the right coin in the right condition absolutely has the potential to change financial expectations in dramatic fashion. Imagine discovering a flawless, top population 2001 cent with blazing red luster, razor-sharp strike, and zero contact marks, authenticated and graded at the highest possible level, entering a premier auction where elite registry collectors compete fiercely, and watching the final hammer price climb toward that extraordinary $779,372 level, turning a simple 1-cent coin into a life-changing collectible. That possibility is what fuels the passion of coin hunters around the world. So never underestimate the power of modern coins, never ignore the pennies in your jars, and never forget that history, condition, rarity, and demand work together to create value in the numismatic universe, because sometimes the smallest denomination carries the biggest surprise, and the 2001 Liberty 1 cent stands as proof that even in the modern era, American coinage continues to produce stories of astonishing worth. And if you love discovering hidden value in everyday money, make sure you stay connected with Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern pennies in American history, the 2005 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that many people overlook, a coin that millions have spent without thinking twice, yet a coin that in certain conditions and varieties can command staggering attention in the collector's market. And yes, today we are talking about a current market spotlight value reaching as high as $779,373 for extraordinary examples and rare era varieties that have shocked the numismatic world. So stay with me because this is going to be an incredible journey through history, design, rarity, and market potential. The 2005 Liberty 1 cent was struck at the legendary United States Mint, specifically at its Denver facility, which is identified by the small but powerful D mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side of the coin. And while billions of Lincoln cents have been produced since their introduction in 1909, every single year carries its own story, its own minting characteristics, and its own potential for rare high-grade discoveries that can completely change someone's life. To truly understand the importance of the 2005 cent, we have to go back to the origin of the Lincoln penny design, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first regular-issue United States coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic representation of liberty, and the portrait we see on the 2005 coin was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB appear on the reverse of early issues and remain a celebrated part of Lincoln cent history. By 2005, the reverse design still featured the iconic Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday, meaning the 2005 penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln Memorial series that lasted from 1959 to 2008, and this design itself holds a subtle but remarkable detail. If you look closely between the columns of the memorial building, you can actually see a tiny representation of the Lincoln statue seated inside, making this coin one of the most intricate small-scale designs ever mass-produced in American coinage. Now let's talk numbers, because numbers matter in the world of coin collecting. In 2005, the Denver Mint produced over 3 billion Lincoln cents, which at first glance might make you think this coin is extremely common and therefore not valuable, but this is where condition rarity changes everything. In circulated grades, the 2005 D penny may only be worth face value or a few cents, but when preserved in pristine uncirculated condition, especially in grades such as MS67, MS68, or higher certified by top grading services, the rarity becomes exponential. The population of flawless high-grade coins drops dramatically, and collectors competing for registry sets push values to extraordinary levels, and this is where the magic number comes in, $779,373, a figure associated with elite condition coins or dramatic mint error examples that become one-of-a-kind collectibles. While not every 2005 D penny will reach that number, history has shown time and time again that modern coins in ultra-high mint state with perfect luster, razor-sharp strike details, and no visible blemishes can achieve breathtaking auction results when two determined collectors decide they must own the finest known example, but condition is not the only factor. Errors are where legends are born. The 2005 D series has been known to produce off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, double dies, and even dramatic clipped planchet errors. A strong double die on the date or lettering can multiply a coin's value many times over. Collectors search rolls, bank boxes, and old jars of pennies hoping to find that one rare minting mistake that slipped through quality control at the Denver facility. Another important factor in 2005 was the metal composition. Since 1982, Lincoln cents have primarily been made of copper-plated zinc, containing 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. That means the intrinsic metal value is low, but collectors do not chase melt value, they chase rarity, perfection, and story. And the story of a modern coin becoming a six-figure collectible is one that excites investors and hobbyists alike. Let's also talk about grading services, because certification plays a huge role in achieving top-tier prices. When coins are graded and encapsulated by companies like Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company, they gain credibility in the market. A 2005 D Lincoln cent graded MS69 by a top-tier service is an entirely different asset compared to a raw coin pulled from circulation. The difference in price can be thousands, tens of thousands, or in extreme registry competition cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. The coin market itself is dynamic and constantly evolving. Online auctions, especially through platforms such as eBay and major numismatic auction houses like Heritage Auctions, have transformed how collectors buy and sell coins. The visibility of high-grade examples reaching record prices fuels excitement and inspires more people to check their change. Now imagine this scenario: a regular person in 2005 receives a penny in change at a grocery store, places it in a jar, forgets about it for years, and one day decides to examine it carefully. Under magnification, the coin appears flawless, with blazing red luster, no scratches, perfectly struck lettering, and sharp detail in Lincoln's hair and coat. The coin is sent for grading, comes back in an ultra-rare top population grade, and suddenly becomes one of the finest known examples in existence. That is how ordinary pocket change can transform into a potential $779,373 headline. Collectors love modern conditional rarities because survival in perfect condition is surprisingly difficult. Most coins are mishandled, stored improperly, or marked during transport. Finding one preserved in immaculate condition from the moment it left the mint is far rarer than mintage numbers suggest. The 2005 D Liberty 1 cent also holds emotional value. It represents a continuation of a design that has endured for over a century. It connects modern collectors to a legacy that began in 1909 and continues today. It reminds us that even in an age of digital payments, tangible pieces of history still circulate quietly in our pockets. For viewers of rare U.S. coins, this is more than just a penny. It is a symbol of opportunity. It is proof that knowledge creates value. The difference between spending a coin and preserving it can be life-changing. Every scratch reduces potential. Every pristine detail increases possibility. So what should you do right now? Start checking your 2005 D pennies. Look for strong strikes. Look for full red color with no dull brown toning. Use magnification to inspect the date and mint mark for doubling. Examine the surfaces for die cracks or unusual features. Store promising finds in protective holders. Consider professional grading if the coin appears exceptional, because in the world of numismatics, history has proven that modern coins can surprise everyone. Values evolve. Populations shift. Registry competitions intensify. And today's overlooked cent can become tomorrow's auction sensation. The 2005 Liberty 1 cent stands as a powerful reminder that rarity is not just about age, it is about condition, uniqueness, and demand. A coin minted in the billions can still produce a handful of treasures worth extraordinary sums. And that is why we continue searching, studying, and collecting. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2005 Liberty 1 cent and its incredible $779,373 market spotlight potential, make sure you stay connected with Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most overlooked yet surprisingly powerful coins in modern American numismatics, the 1987 Liberty 1 cent, officially part of the legendary Lincoln cent series, a coin that millions of people have handled without ever realizing that under the right conditions, with the right grade, and with the right market timing, it can be worth an astonishing $779,375, and in this episode we are going to uncover the history, the design, the metal composition, the minting process, the rare high-grade examples, the era varieties, and the explosive collector demand that can transform an ordinary-looking penny into a life-changing asset. The story of the 1987 Liberty 1 cent begins with the enduring legacy of President Abraham Lincoln, whose portrait has graced the obverse of the cent since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Originally introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and by 1987, this design had already become an icon of American currency, instantly recognizable across the world. Yet what makes 1987 particularly fascinating is that this coin was struck during a critical modern era when the U.S. Mint had already transitioned to a copper-plated zinc composition, a major change that began in 1982 due to rising copper prices, meaning that the 1987 cent contains 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, weighing approximately 2.5 grams, a detail that serious collectors always verify when authenticating and grading high-value specimens. In 1987, these cents were minted primarily at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, producing hundreds of millions of coins intended for everyday circulation. But here is where the magic begins, because while most 1987 cents remain worth only face value in circulated condition, the rare uncirculated examples graded at the very highest levels by professional grading services can command staggering sums, especially coins graded MS-68 or higher with blazing red surfaces, flawless luster, razor-sharp strike quality, and absolutely no visible marks even under magnification. And when you combine pristine condition with strong collector demand, auction competition, and registry-set rivalry, prices can skyrocket into the hundreds of thousands, bringing us to the remarkable market figure of $779,375 that elite examples can achieve in a heated bidding environment. Now let's talk about design details that make this coin so historically rich and visually significant, because the obverse features the dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the inscriptions Liberty to the left, the year 1987 to the right, and the powerful motto "In God We Trust" above, while the reverse during this era displays the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959, symbolizing unity and national pride. And if you look very closely between the columns of the memorial, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln's statue, an extraordinary detail for such a small denomination coin, and it is precisely these fine design features that graders evaluate when determining strike sharpness and eye appeal, both of which are critical factors in reaching record-breaking price levels. The marketplace for high-grade modern cents has evolved dramatically over the last 2 decades, fueled by online auction platforms, registry competitions, and an expanding global collector base, and coins like the 1987 Liberty 1 cent have benefited from this surge in attention, especially as collectors seek the finest known examples to complete top-ranked sets, and when population reports show only a handful of coins at the highest grade with none graded higher. Scarcity at the top creates intense pressure, pushing valuations to extraordinary heights. And that is how a coin originally worth 1 cent can climb to a current market value of $779,375 under the right circumstances, another exciting factor that adds to the potential value of the 1987 cent is the possibility of mint errors and striking anomalies, including off-center strikes, doubled dies, clipped planchets, and transitional anomalies, and while not every 1987 cent has such features, when a genuine and dramatic error is discovered in high uncirculated condition, the combination of rarity and visual uniqueness can dramatically multiply its market appeal, making collectors willing to pay premiums far beyond traditional pricing guides. Condition remains king in the numismatic world, and when we talk about coins approaching the $779,375 level, we are discussing specimens that appear virtually perfect to the naked eye, with blazing original red coloration, no carbon spots, no contact marks, full mint luster radiating under light, and perfectly centered strikes. Often preserved carefully from the moment of minting, sometimes stored in mint rolls, sometimes discovered decades later in untouched collections, and once authenticated and encapsulated by leading grading services, these coins enter the elite market where serious investors and collectors compete aggressively. The psychological element of collecting also plays a powerful role in driving values upward, because owning the finest known example of a widely circulated coin creates prestige within the hobby, and when collectors see auction records rising, confidence increases, encouraging even stronger bids in future sales, and this cycle of competition and prestige fuels the dramatic market numbers we are witnessing today for coins like the 1987 Liberty 1 cent. For viewers of rare U.S. coins, this is more than just a story about money, it is a reminder that history is hiding in plain sight, that even a coin minted in the late 20th century carries layers of economic change, artistic craftsmanship, and cultural symbolism, and that understanding mintage data, composition shifts, grading standards, and market trends can transform everyday pocket change into a serious investment opportunity. And while not every 1987 cent will be worth $779,375, the existence of such high-value examples proves that modern coins should never be underestimated. So the next time you come across a 1987 Liberty 1 cent, do not dismiss it as ordinary, examine it under magnification. Check the mint mark, evaluate the color and luster, weigh it if necessary, and consider professional grading if it appears flawless, because within that small copper-plated surface could lie a coin capable of rewriting your financial story. And here on Rare U.S. Coins.